Okie dokie. Hello, everybody. How are we this evening? Today we are going to be finishing off the base on this guy first. That's why I've got him back on here. We're then also going to be doing the base on our direwolfy boy. And then we are going to be highlighting, shading, adding detail to this guy today. But we'll start with Mohawk Man is back. Indeed he is. Because he can't, even though his Mohawk is cool, he needs his snow base. He needs his Valhallan Blizzard. So he's only technically making a short intro today. But, you know, he's here. We need to finish him off first before we can set him aside. But how are we? How is everybody? Hope everyone's having a good day. Mohawk Man is very, very cool though. He is definitely a really cool figure, but then the guy we're obviously adding detail to today is Dreadlocks Man. Dreadlocks? Dreadlocks Man. Words. And he is really cool too. And then I have two more with Mohawks. There we go. Now, just grabbing the paints we need for the base on our Wolfy boy, which is going to be Lothen Blue, Araman Blue, and Blue Horror. So we'll quickly put him to one side. I'm good, just popped him before heading into work. I appreciate it, thank you. Me and the cats are well. I had company from the Riri all day today, which was lovely. He was a very, very cuddly boy today. But let's go back on screen just for a moment. Just because it's quite hard to hold him and keep him focused and paint. So just want to mix up the colours. But yes, all good here. We're starting off with the darkest blue, which is the Araman Blue. I think it's actually become my favourite paint. I may need to do something in the future that just allows me to use all of these blue shades. It's like almost an entirely blue guy. Obviously, end of last stream, we kind of started adding the highlights and the detail to this guy. So he's got some dimension in his coat now. And then we started our Dreadlocks Man. And we just got around to finishing off his base last time, but he now needs some highlights and some shading to make him look just as cool as Mohawk Man and our Staff Boy, who is actually very, very cool as well, actually. They all are. Yes, that was completely unintentional. It's completely come off my other hand already because I was doing some DIY today. But yeah, when I painted them yet last night, and then I went, huh, these kind of remind me of Space Wolves, and oh goodness, what have I done? What am I becoming? But it's a nice colour. If they did this as nail polish, I'd probably wear it constantly. I'll have to find one. I'll have to take this paint pot into a shop with me and be like, I want nail polish that colour. Shim down for just a moment once we mix up our next colour, which is going to be Lothern Blue. Like I said, with the bases for the ice base, you don't want to add any paints whilst it's dry. You can, but to kind of create this bleeded, like this bled kind of, I don't know what you call this, like mixed or like ombre effect, I guess, maybe? You kind of want to apply it whilst it's still soaking wet, to let the colours bleed together intentionally. But yes, our good boy here is nearly done. Very nearly done. And now for Blue Horror. I think one of the main reasons why, in addition to obviously using these colours, one of the main reasons why I enjoy doing ice bases so much is because of how quick and easy they are. But then I also love doing lava bases. I love doing anything where the paints can just be applied like this, all messy, there's nothing really strategic about where you place it, and it creates a really nice swirly effect without changing it too much. Alright, now that's drying, we're going to put our Dreadlocks boy onto his base. And I'm going to start adding some shading to him. Starting with, so I can grab the colour first. Wherever it's hiding in my pile of paints here. There we go. Starting with Drakenhof and Nightshade here. Give that a little shake up first. So be very careful when I place this so it doesn't overlap on any of our yellow that we added. Oh, we may have our first case of cat on table during stream. Nearly. you stay down? Were you good for me? Very nearly had a Sidious on the table there. Put his front feet on it and then went, I'll behave, I guess. And got down, which I'm grateful for. So I remember mentioning during our last stream that we were trying to get our hands on Dark Water. Very pleased to announce that we have managed it. So when that comes out in 2 weeks, and we get that, we'll be doing some streams on that. So that'll be fun. The heroes look awesome, the Nurgling look really, really awesome. So I'm looking forward to painting those. Especially if any of you guys watched our latest video, the Plague Marine Grimdark 40k/kill team video, the last one we just posted. Then you will have seen my Plague Marine, and since doing that I can now say I'm obsessed. Mr. Nerd has dubbed him Paddy. He is Paddy the Plague Marine, so that is what he shall be known as from now on. So when I bring him back in a few videos time to do his highlighting, which I'll add on the end of my tutorial on how to actually paint them to look the way I've got them to look to begin with, I'll add the highlights on at the end of that one. Apologies for that. Next one over is making some banging. Getting this into all the nooks and crannies where the blue is. It's just such a nice shade. It's a really lovely, beautiful shade colour. But also, it's just really nice to see something that isn't just black or grey all the time. Not that they won't be used, of course. I do have some guns here that will need some Nuln Oil, and some faces and features that will need some Nuln Oil, no doubt. I might even put a little bit of this over his hair, see if it gives me a slight bluish shadow. Might not, since they are so dark, but worst case scenario, it just looks a little bit darker. Okay. I'm going to have to mix a tiny bit of Avaland Sunset, because I went over his knee piece a tiny bit. So I'm just going to mix up that on the side now. Remember, Avaland Sunset is our beautiful yellow colour that we use for all of our Space Wolf yellow items, or yellow parts. There we go. Just refixed his knee, and whilst that dries, I'll move on to another section. Just going to grab the paints, and I think I will do his skin tone next. Apologies, just some banging again. I think for his skin, as far as shade goes, I'm actually going to go in with a tiny bit of Skeleton Horde. So the others might be a bit too dark. So I'll try that one, I think. If not, then Reichland Flesh Shade, which is... Where are you hiding? Picking up every single one except for that one. Or maybe even Seraphim Sepia would actually be okay. I might try that. I don't know. I'll go with the Skeleton Horde first. No, that works better. Just applying that to his skin before I go in with some highlights a little bit later on. There we go. I will go in with Seraphim Sepia for the gold accents though, and then I'll go in with Nuln Oil over the rest of the elements. So just a little bit of this on the belt buckle, because this guy doesn't have a lot of gold on him, he just has it on his belt, which is just hidden, just in the centre right here. But it's a very silver dominated figure. So, we're going to mostly use Nuln Oil to finish that off. Which, of course, is this one here. Give him a slightly bigger brush this time. Can't have this gun looking all that clean. After all, this guy is a killer. He needs to have a little bit of something. And then on his chest he has these grenade pieces, so we're going to do those. And then on his back he has this little backpack, satchel thing, and some pouches and a few other elements that could do with a little bit of a dab of Nuln Oil. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna go in with Seraphim Sepia for the yellow. I feel like for each piece I've done so far, like each individual guy has got very different armor, but they're all obviously still unison, and they're also very obvious that they're all space wolves. Which makes each one a little bit more unique. Right. Whilst the shade's dry, I think we'll quickly paint this guy's base, and then we can put that to dry, and then we can paint one of our two other figures, which is, they're both Mohawk guys, but it's a case of which Mohawk boy do we want. So we have this man. Or we have this man. It has like a little quiff of hair rather than a mohawk, I suppose. And a little mustachy beard thing. Which one do you think we should paint first? The darkest blue applied again. Needs a bit more pigment. So once again, I'm going in with the Logan Blue for that slightly lighter shade. Because this goes for still in this rock, that's going to be covered in snow later as well. So that'll be fun to do. And of course blue horror again. Because this big rock, there isn't very much of this base actually on show. So I'm not trying to go too crazy with the colours. Just because I feel like we'll lose some of the details if we do it that way. That's another base done. I think I'm going to go for this boy. Wants to focus on the guy behind. Once put onto the base, I'll show you. Guy with the big old gun and the little quiffy mohawk type thing. I think he's pretty cool. So I think we'll go for him next. And since we are starting a new figure, it's time to mix up some of that traditional paint that I've been using. So that's rust grey mixed with Thunderhawk blue. So rust grey. And where are you hiding? Thunderhawk blue. Let's mix those two together. Definitely think by the time I finish this set of Dead Silence, we'll be needing to have a stock up on Rust Grey. One, because I use it for every single one of my Space Balls that I've done so far. And two, because it is genuinely one of my favourite colours and I don't want to run out of it completely. Looking good so far. Now I'm just going to be going in with a little bit of the Fang, just to pick out certain pieces of his armor. Again, this is like a purpley blue, but mixed or paired with the mixed colour that we've done actually works quite well. I think we'll go for his gloves to be this colour as well. Using a very small brush to do this, just to make sure I've got the utmost control. It's a very large gun, so of course it's going to require some big old muscles to lug this one around. Just got a little drink break there as well, sorry about that. I'm going to do with that yellow, and then I can pick from there where I want the rest of the colour to go. Some more Avalanche Sunset. do yellow shoulder pads for this guy. Makes a bit more of this colour now. Remember guys, it's officially, we're on final countdown now. We've got 4 more shifts. And then I'm officially on maternity leave, which means you can expect a lot more streams. And they'll be consistently throughout the week. Obviously that will change when little man decides to make his arrival. But between now and then, you can expect a lot more streams from us. So if there's anything you guys actually want to see, now would be a great time to leave it in the description. Not the description, in the comment section. Or even here in the live chat. Because I can always make notes. If you want to see more 40k stuff, if you want to see more Lord of the Rings stuff, if you want to see more fantasy stuff, then let me know so then I can start doing that. Obviously, I can be pretty sure a lot of you guys will probably want to see some Dark Water when we get our hands on that in a couple of weeks. So if you want to see some Nurgling being painted or something like that, then stay tuned for that, because that'll be coming in the coming weeks. I think it's the second week of December. I think it's the 12th of December it gets released, so not long now at all. Little elbow pieces. Right. This guy has a few more furs on him than the last one as well, so I'm going to be adding that same tussle fur when I get around to it. But for now, I'm going to finish off the rest of his armour in that Thunderhawk blue and rust grey mix that I made earlier. They stream me about 2 hours or so. I've been very, very busy doing up some stuff for our soon-to-be baby boy's room today. And it has knocked the energy out of me. But I still wanted to stream so we could get through these Space Marines. Space Wolves, what I'm on about, excuse me. So we can get through this set and move on to our next project. So that way then we are ready for when Dark Water comes out. So I can start making some Nurgling. And of course the heroes, which are also really, really cool. Don't know if you guys have actually had the chance to have a look at any of it yet. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Darkwater is the Warhammer quest. And it is very, very cool looking. Just going to quickly show you some of the heroes. So we're painting either the Nurgling or we're painting these guys, which as you can see are very, very cool. And then that's the Nurgling. So very, very fun stuff to look forward to coming in the next couple of weeks. And I was correct, that is coming out on the 13th of the 12th. Which is next Saturday. Not this coming Saturday, Saturday after. So very, very soon. Just going to start mixing up his skin tone colours. So I'm going to make this guy another redhead. So he's going to have very fair skin. So we're going to go in with some Kislev flesh, mostly. And a tiny bit of, wherever it's hiding, Bugman's Glow. Apologies if you could hear that going overhead. Sounds like we've got an airplane going above the house for some reason at the moment. Awfully loud stuff tonight. But anyway, the Kislev flesh and the Bugman's Glow, you can kind of change that mixture to be as dark or as light as you want. Because I want this guy to be quite pale, I've gone for more Kislev flesh than I have Bugman's. But I've still gone in with a bit of Bugman's just to create that pinky tone to the skin. Using a small brush to get into this, just to make sure I'm hitting all of the visible skin. It does have some facial hair, so I'm just trying to focus on the parts that obviously don't have his facial hair in, because I'll just have to cover them up again later. Got a lot of like gadgets and attachments to his face as well. It's got like a eyeglass thing. So that'll be fun to paint in a little bit as well. Okie dokie. What do I want to move on to next? I think I'll add some more of that yellow to the backpack or the jump pack. And also just redo this shoulder. Once this base is dry, we'll move back onto the figure we just did the base on. Because one, it'll be dry by then, and two, we can then add all of his highlights. Has anybody got any plans for this evening, or are we just relaxing in preparation for a busy week ahead? Possible this week is either going to drag for me or it is going to fly by, because it is my last week before I leave for maternity. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be anything like if I was going on a holiday, where that last week before you go on holiday always just seems to drag. But who knows? It might go really, really fast, or feel like it's going fast, obviously. I think I'm going to go in with some more of the Fang. Which reminder is this purpley blue colour. Apologies that the camera just got knocked. The cat just decided to play with that. Ooh. Cat's deciding not to jump on the table but to cause other forms of mischief instead. There we go. It's got like a stripe down the middle, which I'm going to assume is supposed to be like a leather strap. So I'm going to grab some lead belcher for obviously the lead / metal parts, and I'm also going to add a bit of a darker brown as well for the rest of it. Sorry, also just fix it below my nose there as well. I'm deciding, I think I'll do the silk first. So we'll go in with some lead belcher. This guy hasn't got any like decals or anything like that on him. So instead this lead belcher is going to be reserved just for his weapons. So his gun and his sword sheath here. Oh, and there's a tiny, teeny, tiny little grenade just tucked under his arm. Right about there. So tiny, it's literally right there. Very minuscule. Just going to go in with Thondia Brown now. Applying that to his little satchel here and to his belt. There we go. It's going to do any touch-ups. Got my cat rubbing on my leg right now. He's being very sweet and clearly wanting some attention. Hi, buddy. Just realised I forgot the most important part with this brown, which is the satchels on this guy's back. Looks like these giant canisters. I don't know what they are, so those I will paint in silver just to be safe. He also has a skull on his back as well, which is pretty cool. I love painting skulls. So easy, but so effective. I've been more or less locked inside of a room all day, painting, or not painting, skimming walls. So my cats have not had the attention that they've been craving as much. So even though I've been frequently leaving the room just to kind of say hi to them and take little breaks, in their eyes, still not a substantial amount of time. So I've got cats currently just looking at me from all different directions in this house. One of which has just got on the table. You gonna just sit down? Cool. He's behaving for now. Right, I'm gonna go back in and decant a little bit more lead belcher for these canisters before I paint the rest of the straps that are holding them in using brown. Anybody got an idea as to what these canisters could be? There we go. That's both little canisters that I've painted. Let that silver dry before we move on to anything else. So whilst that dries, I'm going to move back onto our previous Dreadlocks boy and we're going to add his highlights, I think. You can see there he's looking pretty good with his shading. Right. Now to mix our highlight shades. For that, you can either use White Scar or Corax White for this. I'm going to use some Corax White. I'm going to mix it with some Rust Grey. Just to do our highlights. Which are going to be edge highlights for any rimming up the armour. And then for the yellow, I'm going to mix a tiny bit of Phalanx yellow with Avaland, Sunset, and some Corax White as well. I'm going to start by mixing the blue colour though. Did anybody do anything fun over the weekend at all? Okay, that's mixed. Now going in with a very small brush again. I'm going to edge highlight the blue parts. See it just faintly there. Just adds a little bit of light, a little bit of dimension, a little bit of sharpness. I'm going to do his foot now. And some on the leg. There we go, that'll do for that highlight. Now to move on to the yellow highlight. Starting with some phalanx yellow. I don't need very much of this. It just adds a nice shift of colour away from like a super orangey toned highlight. Makes it more of like a golden yellow, just without the metallic. And then literally the teeniest drop of some white in there as well, which like I said, you can use either white scar or you can use Corax white, whatever you put your hands on. I have both. Mix a tiny bit more of the Avaland in. Okay. There we go. Time to move on to the gold and silver highlights. For gold highlights, I'm going to be using Auric Armor Gold. And for silver highlights, I'm going to be using Stormhost Silver. I'm going to start with our silver. Just trying to make sure my brush is completely dry before I go in with this.
We'll just put knocking the camera there, guys. There we go. And I'm going to go in with my gold highlights and use Auric Armor Gold. Just giving the pot a good shake, make sure it's well mixed. There's some gum on his gold on his belt. And then some on his head as well. There we are. And now I'm going to mix up some Eshin Grey. And that's going to be the highlight for this guy's hair. We'll just have to mute ourselves there because the cat decided to play with a toy. So I'm just going to take this Eshin Grey. And just drag this through certain locks. This is a super dark, almost black grey. So I'm going to go in again with a slightly lighter one. Or I might mix a drop of some white with this just to make it slightly lighter. Yeah, because I'm having quite a hard time picking that up, that colour. So I'm going to mix a couple drops of white in with that Eshin Grey just to make it perfect. For the white, I'm going to use White Scar. So I was just having a drink break whilst I was there as well. Like, I'm only actually applying a drop of white to this Eshin Grey because I don't want it to be much lighter than this. But just light enough that it shows up a bit more in contrast to the black dreads. It is extremely subtle. Because there's the slightest bit of a lighter grey hint there in regards to his hair. Now for his face. I'm going to mix a tiny bit of Gortha Brown, which is the same brown we used before as the base of his skin tone. We mixed that with Bugman's Glow before. We're going to mix this with a tiny bit of Kislev now. The Kislev will lighten this slightly more, whilst also keeping a brown hue to it and also lightening it to be a good highlight shade. What I'm doing is just focusing this with a very small brush, and I'm focusing this on his cheeks, his nose, and his forehead mostly. Just because this guy has not got like the biggest of faces, I don't want to apply too much of this. And we've had a little bit to his chin as well. Essentially the most central parts of his face is where I've gone ahead and applied that highlight now that is for his face shade. Because the space is dry now as well, I'm going to go ahead and start adding the technical paint whilst we're at it. So I just misplaced my large brush there, found it. Yeah, these are one of those paints that you don't have to dilute. Technical paints you just apply straight from the pot. Or you can apply straight from the pot. There we go. Once that dries, we'll then be able to go ahead and apply our technical paint, the snow one, the Valhalla Blizzard. And that'll be another one almost complete. Just gonna add a few more highlights to his body right now. So we'll leave him on the stand for now. And once we've done that, he's then done. We're gonna go back to our Mohawk Quiff boy. And we can finish his details too. Going to go back in with a little bit more of that silver host, just to highlight his grenades, because I missed those. And then we'll go from there. Apologies for the camera going in and out of focus. See what else I need to highlight real quick. I think we move on to the brown next, so I'll go in with some Gorsa Brown. And highlight any of the satchels that I've done. It's an edge of that top there, you can see. And just painted along that. And now the same for his satchel on his hip. Little slight music change there. Okay, I think we're going to mix a little bit of the fang with some white now. Just to do that highlight. For the white, I'm going to be mixing White Scar. Making sure my brush is properly cleaned off and dry. Again, just like picking a random edge to add that highlight to. I think we'll have to make this stream 2 hours tonight, guys. Just because I am actually extremely feeling fatigued. But today we'll definitely finish off highlighting this guy. We will then we'll probably also then finish off some of the remaining parts on our next guy. The little mohawk quiff guy. And that should be us done. There's still quite a lot though in today's videos. There we go. And that's this guy done, except for adding the ice to his base when Ardcoat is 100% dry, which it's not quite there yet. It's almost there, but not quite. So the focus on this guy now. So I'm going to need some Tuscal fur to do the furs on his pack. And just like that, he has his little furs on his shoulder based. Go back in with that original brown, which was Thondia brown. And finish off the straps that are attached to these little canisters now. Do like the adage of the bones that the space walls have. There we go. For the skull, I'm going to mix a base of Ushabti bone. And then once that's dry, we'll go over it with Skeleton Horde again, which is the shade paint. You can see that bone hanging from his backpack there. This has been tied on with some ropes. So for those, I think I'll just go in with a tiny bit of Baneblade Brown. Just to show the ropes that are holding the skull in place. It's actually perched on a little silver shelf, so I'm using lead belcher to do that. There we go. For the underside of his jump pack, I'm going to go in with that original mix I made of Rust Grey and Thunderhawk Blue, and just quickly fill in that as well. There we go. Going back in with lead belcher. On his face he has some sci-fi style like monocle type things. Just going to fill that in using lead belcher. So wraps around the back of his neck. So I'm just making sure I get all the way around there as well. Okay, that's that bit added. Now what do we do for facial hair? Do we go ginger? Do we go blonde? Do we go brunette? Because so far we've got ginger, we have blonde, and we have black hair. But he looks a little bit older, so I don't necessarily want to go in with just a side colour. I could go in with brown, and then I could add some white flecks to it. Yeah, we'll do that. We're going with Gortha brown, we're going for a lighter brown. Going in with Gortha brown for the base of it. Just making sure I'm getting it around his facial hair as well. Space Wolves, my fave. Yeah, I love Space Wolves. I've got quite a few of them now. These ones specifically are from the Kill Team Dead Silence kit. But anyway, how are you? Are you having a good evening so far? Thank you for joining the stream. Just topping up this yellow on his shoulders a bit. Yeah, this channel's obviously run by myself and Mr. Nerd. I am going to have the Space Wolves. He's going to have the Space Communists, aka the Tau. Stud out here in Singapore. Oh, I'm so sorry. We went in to order it on the website the day of. I think it went live at 10, and by 6 minutes past 10, it was completely gone. So we got really, really lucky that we went into Warhammer World itself, and they had a couple spare. And we're friendly with the manager. And he saw that we came all this way and we just really, really wanted it. So once everybody who'd obviously pre-ordered it had bought theirs and there was a few left, he just handed one to Mr. Nerd. And to say his face lit up would be an understatement. It was at the beginning of the stream that we also managed to get our hands on Darkwater, the Warhammer Quest. I managed to pick that up a couple of days ago when it went live. No, not a couple of days ago. Yeah, Sunday. No, Saturday. So as soon as that went live on Saturday, I picked that one up. Got very lucky, got that one as well. So in previous streams, we have painted this guy, who is our priest. He looks pretty cool, pretty proud of him. Then we've got our guy with the mine, aka mine and also Mohawk. He's pretty cool as well. And then we're still waiting for this base to dry. We've got a little dire wolf here, but on him he's actually got some straps, so I'm going to quickly paint those as well whilst we're at it. Just to say he's completely finished then. So using some, where did you go paint? Lead belcher. I'm just painting over these little metal elements. But anyway, Ubi guy, how are you? Are you doing okay today? I'm going to grab a couple lighter colours for the reins. In fact, no, I think I'll go in with black, actually, because he's obviously an all-brown wolf. So I think if I go in with black, that'll actually stand out a bit better. So I'm going to go in with Abaddon black for that. I'm just decanting some of the paints onto a wet palette, so I don't have to use as much of the product. And also I can then seal it up and then use the paints again if I want to. My first introduction to anything 40k was actually Space Wolves. Space Wolves and Tau were actually my first intros, and then Tyranids, because that's what my dad used to collect when I was a kid. So some 30 years ago. So every time I paint one of these, it's like a little bit of a nostalgic feeling as well. But personally, I love the Fallen Angels, aka Lionel Johnsons. Do you have any close seconds after the Space Wolves, Ubi guy? Or is it Space Wolves all the way for you? The black just stands out a lot better against the brown furs. My first was Wolfen. Oh. We've only just got into 40k. We've also only been doing this for a year, so we're still really new to all of it. But I've now kind of picked if I was to, or when we go down the 40k route outside of Kill Team, when we officially want to do Combat Patrol, I'm going to be going with the Fallen Angels. Whilst Mr. Nerd, who is, you can see maybe in the comments above you, known as Rothmer Gaming. He's at work at the moment, but he is still deciding. But I remember him saying like his first ever 40k army was Tau, aka Little Space Communists. At the moment, finishing Wolves on Combat Patrol. Ooh, very nice. We do have some socials. So if you want to know we share photos or anything like that, please feel free, because we'd love to see them. Okay. I think his base is dry enough now for me to paint the part that I want to paint. But it's just this middle section that is slightly damp still. But for all of them, I've gone ahead and applied a technical paint called Ard Coat to give them this shiny base look before adding the fake snow. So I want to make sure that wolf is completely dry before I move on to that. However, I will add the shade to this, I think. And then I'll do his base whilst the shade dries. And then I'll probably call it a night there. So just unfortunately I'm very, very tired tonight. So it's just a bit of a shorter stream, so it'll still be just over 2 hours. But as of next week, I'm officially going to be streaming a lot more often. I'll be streaming more throughout the week because I'm officially on maternity leave. So for the next year, obviously in addition to adjusting as a parent, also going to be doing a lot of streaming and a lot of painting and stuff like that. So that's going to be fun. So we're going to start by filling in the ropes on the back of this figure. That are holding this skull onto his bag. So you obviously collect your 40k. Do you collect any Age of Sigmar or anything like that, Ubi guy? Or are you 40k all the way, or through and through? Is that your preference? Whilst that dries, I'm going to go in and do some shading. So using Drakenhoth Nightshade, 40k at the moment. To be honest, they're both really, really cool. As far as Age of Sigmar goes, I've painted the entire Sylvaneth Spearhead. In addition to, at the moment, I'm also working on Nighthorn. But at the moment, I've been having a lot of fun painting 40k and being able to do like the battle damage and stuff like that. Because we recently picked up the Kill Team starter set. I'm collecting / building, not playing. Absolutely understandable. We have only recently started getting into actually playing, but the thing is, it's quite a... It can be quite complex when it comes to actually understanding the game. It took me a really long time to actually understand a lot of the rules on how to play certain parts. But we personally are learning to play Kill Team, or we will be once the whole army's painted. And then from there, because at the moment we mostly play Warcry, which is the Age of Sigmar equivalent of Kill Team, which we really enjoy. But at the moment, Mr. Nerd does all of the building, and I do most of the painting. But he has recently started painting the... Did learn to play at a local Warhammer store a few weeks back. Awesome. That's how we learned. We went into our local store and we picked it up that way. It was really helpful not only having the manager to help us, but also other players, like other people who were obviously there for the exact same hobby. So we got to kind of connect with them. Might learn Kill Team. To be honest, the book and the manual for Kill Team from the starter set, from what we've got, makes it sound pretty good. We've done the basics of the kit. We just need to do a few more kind of lessons with the manager and stuff like that helping us before we can confidently say we know what we're doing. But once we know 100% what we're doing, we'll then be able to go on to or play it on here. So you can watch us play Warcry, you can watch us play Kill Team, you can watch us paint. Like, we'll have gaming streams as well as painting streams. And that'll be within the next year. We'll be doing a mixture of all three, of Warcry, Kill Team, and painting streams. But at the moment, Mr. Nerd has been working on the Helmsmiths of Hashut, which they're currently just now developing into a Warcry team. And I'll just quickly show you his Dominator engine, which is absolutely incredible. Our local Warhammer store named him Dave. So he's made it so the arms move, by the way. This isn't broken. His arms are supposed to move. He has these maces. And he is absolutely incredible. And our local Warhammer store has named him Dave. So he is Dave the Dominator. He's really, really good. But this is what Mr. Nerd has painted. So when he does eventually get on here and start painting some stuff, you guys are definitely in for a treat, because you can see the detail that he's put into this. It's absolutely insane. Okie dokie. That skull is now dry, so I'm going to go in with aptly named Skeleton Horde and a smaller brush. And just apply that to the bones. This is a contrast paint rather than a shade, but it just clings to the bone a lot better. And of course, Skeleton Horde, it makes it look like a skeleton, makes it look perfect. Bear me 1 second, I'm just going to grab my Plague Guard so you can see what we've been working on recently with in regards to 40k. So we paint 40k, we paint Age of Sigmar, we paint Middle Earth as well. So in regards to 40k, This is the guy I've just finished painting. He's actually what our last video was on. So his little plague guard here in like a grimdark style. And he was so much fun to paint. I even used a match to kind of burn along the bottom of his robes here, just to kind of make him look a little bit more grungy. So he was a lot of fun to paint. I still have my remaining, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more of these guys to paint for the Kill Team starter set. So they're all going to be done in a grimdark fashion. So we'll look forward to seeing some of those. That tutorial will be coming live now very soon. As far as Age of Sigmar, this is what another piece that I've done. This is Drycha. So this is the tree people. Formerly the tree elves, and now they are literal trees. I have those under no fear boxes. Yeah, we have quite a few. A lot of our sets have come from box sets that we've got. But this is Drycha, who's incredibly cool. Hi Ballistic, how are you? But yeah, this plague guard I'm actually very proud of. He was a lot of fun to paint. It's fun something that wasn't just entirely clean all the time. And then as far as the Middle Earth stuff goes, we have one of the cave trolls from Lord of the Rings. So you can see we do quite the collection of different paints on the channel. As I said a little bit earlier, I'm going to be going on maternity leave at the end of this week. So we have a collection of Warhammer stuff, we have 40k, some 40k stuff, we have some Middle Earth stuff, we have some Age of Sigmar stuff. So if there's anything in particular you want to see us paint or see me paint, then please let me know. Just because then I can actually prioritise painting those over the next few weeks. This guy's coming together quite nicely. His base is almost, in fact his base is dry now. So what we'll do is we'll pop him back onto the stand and we will add his snow effect. How have you been, Ballistic? You okay? For technical paint, we're going technical paint Valhalla and Blizzard for the snow. I'm for quite a big lump of this. You're okay? That's good to hear. Using that little lump that I've just added, I'm just going to be breaking it up and spreading it around the base here. So we started a little bit earlier today, but we started at 5:30 today. So stream will be ending a little bit earlier just because I've been very busy today, so I'm a little bit on the fatigue side. But not long now, literally 4 more shifts. And I'll be doing this pretty much every day, if not every day. What product is the snow? So this is a Citadel Colours technical paint. in Valhalla Blizzard, and it comes directly out of the pot, as you saw, as the snow. There are a few other brands that do stuff like this. This is just what we use. But I find, especially with Space Wolves, like having it snow is just really fitting. So I use this for my bases. But traditionally, you can pile it on a lot thicker and higher than this. It is a very buildable product, but what you can do is kind of add a layer, let it dry, and then build it up some more if you want to. And it comes out in a thick, kind of chunky consistency, as you can see, which you then apply to the figure. And then build it up. Really easy to manipulate, really easy to use. But they don't just have snow. They also have one called Ard Coat, which when dries clear, so it gives the impression of ice. And they also have one called Tesseract Glow, which when you apply this over stuff, which I use a lot of this for my Age of Sigmar Nighthaunt stuff, creates quite a toxic sludge kind of look, so that's fun to use as well. So this guy's had some highlights done. He's been shaded, he has been filled in. Yes, I'm pretty happy with him. As far as figures go now for this set, we only have one more figure left to paint, which is this gentleman. So he's the last figure left to paint for the Dead Silence set for the Space Wolves. My apologies, had to sneeze. But we still have to add detail to this gent here. He still needs to be highlighted. Oh, I'm throwing him across the floor. He still needs to be highlighted and sorted out that way. But I'll be doing that one in my next stream. So, sorry that you guys have joined just as I'm kind of ending the stream. Today's stream is only going to be 2 hours, unfortunately. But I hope you have enjoyed the little bit you have seen. I look forward to jumping back on. I'll either jump back on tomorrow to finish this off. I might jump on tomorrow. I might jump on another day, actually, because tomorrow I finish at 8 PM. Worst case scenario, by Friday, this kill team will be completely finished. And on the channel, we will also be doing like a little poll for you guys to actually vote what do you actually want to see me paint over the next few weeks. So you guys can actually let me know. So again, really apologies for those who've joined just at the last minute there. But I've been falling asleep for almost. You wanted from the start, just didn't comment. Thank you so much for watching, Ballistic. I appreciate it. But anyway, I hope you guys have a lovely evening. And I will catch you guys in the next stream to finish off our Kill Team starter set. So I hope you have a wonderful evening, and
whatever it is you guys do tonight. I hope it's a wonderful one. So enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.